Bon après-midi à tous et à tous. Buenas tardes a todos. مساء الخير للجميع. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a genuine honor to stand before you here in Saint-Barthélemy, surrounded by leaders, visionaries, and innovators shaping the future of our skies and shores. The fact that I can open with a greeting in French, Spanish, and Arabic isn't just a linguistic gesture, it's a reflection of the world we live in today. A world that is interconnected, yes, but still beautifully diverse. Globalization may bring us together, but culture is what gives us identity. If we want our innovations to thrive, whether in aviation, tourism, or infrastructure, they must be designed not just for global systems, but for local souls. Every language you hear today carries more than words. It carries story, history, and belonging. And if AI is to have any meaningful role in our future, it must be capable of recognizing and respecting those things. Now, while I've had the pleasure of meeting many of you all already, for those I haven't yet crossed paths with, je m'appelle Raéd Ayyad, also known in some circles as the original Jerry Maguire. I lead at Connexxen, where we specialize in intelligent systems for smart living and future-forward infrastructure. But today, I don't speak just as a technologist or the STEM geek that I'm known as in many circles. I'm a catalyst, a connector, a bridge-building voice. Because the future of aviation and tourism isn't just about faster aircraft or smarter hotels. It's about how we connect intelligence to intention, data to integrity, and innovation to inclusion. Artificial intelligence, AI, is not just a tool, it's a lens. And the real question isn't whether we use it, but how we use it, who it serves, and what values guide its deployment. Today, I'll explore how AI is already transforming operations, from route planning to predictive maintenance to hyper-personalized guest experiences, the essential risks and opportunities of integrating AI into culturally sensitive tourism ecosystems, and why the Caribbean, with its unique blend of inter-island dynamics, hospitality heritage, and youth potential, is not behind the curve, but poised to leap ahead if we plan wisely. Since my arrival to the islands just a few days ago, I've been out in the streets, exploring cities, walking the infrastructure, talking with everyday workers and local business owners, and listening to tourists with a critical ear. I met some fantastic people, très incroyable. That's been a gift. But I also gained strategic insight into some of the gaps that still need bridging. That's if we want to unlock a competitive, sustainable future for the region. So, I invite you to think critically with me today, not just about what AI can do, but what we should do with it, in ways that serve both profit and purpose. And before we jump in, allow me to set one small expectation. Having rewritten my presentation fairly recently to oblige certain points that have been raised and time allowance change that have been offered, and more importantly, being famously prone to rabbit holes when speaking on topics I love, especially in rooms like this one, full of serious minds and bold ideas. I'll be using my notes to keep us on track and on time, in respect for those who will be presenting after me. Let's begin. Artificial intelligence is not the future. It's the tool of the present. From the cockpit to the terminal, from the booking screen to the hotel room, AI is shaping how we fly, how we serve, and how we think. In most cases, without the conscious awareness of the end users or customers. Properly implemented AI solutions are reshaping aviation and tourism by enhancing efficiency, enhancing personalization, and enhancing safety across the entire travel experience. That's so far. In aviation, AI-driven predictive maintenance, air traffic optimization, and automated operations are reducing delays and operational costs while improving safety. For travelers, AI powers smart booking engines, virtual assistants, and dynamic pricing models that tailor options in real time based on preferences and behavior. In tourism, AI is enabling hyper-personalized recommendations, seamless language translation for many languages, though I'd still like to see more work done for Arabic and Russian and Chinese, and immersive experiences through augmented reality and virtual tours. This transformation not only boosts customer satisfaction, but also empowers businesses to make data-driven decisions, optimize resources, and better adapt to dynamically changing market demands. But today, I will challenge us not to ask what AI can do, but whether we are ready to use it well. If there's a single lesson I've learned from my quarter of a century in consulting and project management is this. The primary reason projects fail is putting the carriage in front of the horse, for whatever reason or justification, often rooted in the pressure to appease, the rush to be first, or simply poor leadership alignment. Think the Boeing 737 MAX debacle. That's an excellent example that almost encompasses all these reasons. So, what does AI do from the perspective of a business? AI integrates fragmented systems, ticketing, logistics, security, tourism, flow, etc. Let's break that down a little bit and look at some of the benefits. Let's look at real-time forecasting for passenger volume. Airlines and airports can allocate resources, proactively reducing delays and crowding. Predictive maintenance of aircraft leads to avoiding breakdowns before they occur, saving lives, money, and time. Personalized travel experiences and smart home or office technology integration, or smart spaces technology integration, helps tourism agencies recommend itineraries based on behavior, preferences, and special needs without invading privacy. And you will notice that I will continue to come back to the issue of privacy as we progress through this presentation. Then we have smart customs and immigration pathways. AI can pre-clear low-risk travelers and direct staff towards bottlenecks in real time. I experienced a degree of such, an implementation that is, at the Princess Juliana International Airport, or SXM, though there is notable space for improvement, and we'll touch on that. These are interconnected and powerful, but none of it works if the infrastructure isn't speaking the same language. That is, they must be interoperable, secure, and designed around shared standards. So, here's how to make that happen. 1. Adopt open standards and APIs. API stands for Application Programming Interfaces, for those who are not savvy. Why it matters. Airlines, airports, hotels, immigration systems, and tourism services often use proprietary software that doesn't talk to each other. The solution? Implement standardized APIs and data schemas For example, IATA's NDC for airline retail, AIDX for flight data, Open Travel Alliance for tourism, to enable seamless communication. You can think of APIs as translators between systems, ensuring one system's check-in time doesn't get misread as another's boarding time. 2. Ensure data privacy and security protocols. Systems must comply with GDPR, CCPA, and industry-specific aviation or tourism standards. We must implement zero trust architecture, anonymize data layers, and differential privacy models so systems can collaborate without exposing travelers. 3. Leverage AI middleware or data fabric. Introduce an AI middleware layer or data fabric that sits between systems. It harmonizes and contextualizes information across platforms. That's making AI insights system agnostic and actionable. Something I always keep in mind when it comes to computing is that the outcomes are only as good as the inputs, colloquially known as garbage in, garbage out. And in the aviation world, we can see the results of mishandling this understanding in the outcomes of events such as Air France Flight 447 or that of Bergen Air Flight 301 as two specific examples. So, some may ask, what is AI middleware? AI middleware is a software layer that acts as a translator and coordinator between otherwise disconnected systems. What it does, it integrates data from multiple sources, applies real-time processing and AI interface, and delivers context-aware insights back to each connected system. Think of it as a universal conductor in a digital orchestra, ensuring that booking systems, airport operations, hotel customs, weather feeds, and even smart home devices play in harmony. And I know that there are some of you who are asking in their minds, hey, what is data fabric, man? A data fabric is a flexible, intelligent architecture that connects data across hybrid cloud and on-premise environments, applying AI to manage and govern them dynamically and ideally seamlessly. Where a middleware handles transactions and logic, data fabric ensures that the data itself is always accessible, clean, contextualized, governed, and secure. So why it matters for aviation and tourism? Without middleware or data fabric, an airline can't anticipate delays caused by a surge in customs processing. A hotel can't prepare for early check-ins triggered by an earlier than expected flight arrival. A tourism authority can't predict local congestion because they don't see real-time cruise ship disembarkation numbers. With AI middleware plus data fabric, 1. A passenger's smart luggage check-in triggers a real-time update across the airline, airport gate, and ground transportation system. 2. Flight delays auto-notify hotel partners to adjust shuttle pickups and hold bookings. 3. AI predicts and reroutes tourist foot traffic in a popular location using weather, event, and location analytics in tandem. So, in a sense, how it works technically, connectors and APIs pull data from legacy and modern systems, such as flight databases, customs, hotel, PMS, and weather APIs. The semantic layer adds meaning or context to raw data, such as check-in time. A good example, check-in time means something different in hotels versus for flights. So it creates the distinction. Interface engines apply AI or ML, ML stands for machine language, to find patterns, forecast, and suggest actions such as rerouting, resource shifts, etc. The orchestration layer sends personalized, timed, and contextual instructions to connected systems. I hope that clarifies things to a certain extent. 4. Build digital twins and shared knowledge graphs. How and why? Create digital twins of operations, airports, resorts, fleets, and link them through semantic knowledge graphs. These help AI systems understand, I put that between quotes, shared concepts like passenger intent or weather impact, regardless of platform. 5. Foster public-private collaboration. Airlines, governments, and tech providers must work collaboratively, not competitively, to align on governance models and data sharing protocols. Regional hubs like the Caribbean would benefit greatly from federated infrastructure models where local systems sync securely with global frameworks. In short, for AI to truly deliver, the systems must agree on meaning, respect privacy, and sync in real time across borders, companies, and touchpoints. So, on this slide, I wrote this quote. Growing up, I thought it was attributed to Dr. Einstein, but through research, I've found out that actually it's sourced to the head of the Industrial Engineering Department of Yale University, that is, back in the 1960s. We don't know exactly which head of industrial engineering, but the message carries. And as you see, it states, if I had only 1 hour to solve a problem, I would spend up to 2/3 of that hour in attempting to define what the problem is. Too often, we rush into solving things, throwing money, technology, or talent at symptoms rather than causes. But the real power of intelligence, human or artificial, lies in asking better questions. Why problem definition matters. 1. Solving the wrong problem wastes more than time. It creates new problems. Misdiagnosed challenges lead to costly missteps. In aviation, misidentifying a maintenance issue can grant flights or even worse. In tourism, misreading traveler needs can erode trust and culture. 2. Clarity of the problem reshapes the path forward. So once we define what truly needs fixing, we can align stakeholders, select appropriate tools, AI or not, and prioritize effectively. 3. AI is only as good as the problem it's trained to solve. My friends, please remember this. An AI that forecasts weather is useless if the real issue is crew scheduling. An algorithm that optimizes tourist flow won't help if the real problem is local displacement. Problem definition is a compass. It helps us avoid false urgency, the kind that pressures action before reflection. It brings shared understanding, especially across cultures, departments, or sectors, and it reduces technical overreach, preventing us from automating what was never understood to begin with. In sustainable innovation, it's important to recognize that in regions like the Caribbean, where ecosystems are fragile and local communities are tight-knit, solving the wrong problem doesn't just delay progress, it damages trust, culture, and nature. So, what's the practical takeaway? Before deploying any AI or smart tech, Spend time listening to those who live with the problem. Map causes, not just symptoms, and define success through the eyes of those impacted most. Because once the problem is accurately defined, the solution often becomes self-evident. So, what must come first? Interoperable infrastructures. Systems must communicate seamlessly. If air traffic data, tourism trends, and local transportation aren't connected, AI will only solve isolated problems and possibly create new ones. Data privacy and governance should come next. We must protect both the traveler and the territory. Data misuse breaks trust faster than any system can fix it. Privacy must be designed in from the start, not patched on later. I've noticed that cybersecurity, even among many establishments around St. Martin and St. Barth, is an afterthought, or not one at all, which is something we can discuss at a later time. Then we have trained local talent. AI without a local workforce is digital colonialism. We must educate and empower Caribbean youth to design, maintain, and improve these systems, not just consume them. Environmental assessments. Innovation must respect ecosystems. Airports, vertiports, and smart infrastructure must work with the land and the sea, not against them. Otherwise, we erode the very beauty we're trying to showcase. Actually, I'd like to spend a few talking about, I'll put this between brackets, this destructive digital colonialism before I move on, because it is very relevant to this region, as I see it at least. You hear me say this relatively often. AI is not magic, it is logic. Destructive digital colonialism refers to the domination and exploitation of digital infrastructure, data, platforms, or AI systems by powerful nations or corporations over less powerful regions, often without equitable benefit to the local population. It mirrors traditional colonialism, actually, only now it's through code, servers, and surveillance instead of ships and flags. Here are key examples across categories. 1. Data extraction without consent. Here are some examples. Facebook's free basic in Africa and Asia, which is marketed as free internet access, but only allowed the use of Facebook and a few curated sites. Users' data was harvested without full understanding or control, giving Facebook insights into markets it didn't fairly compensate. And that should be a concern every business in the region should fathom. If you are not the paying customer, you are the product being sold. Then we come to Google Street View and data mapping. It's a great tool, but Google mapped large portions of developing regions without proper community consent or local governance collaboration, using the data for global products and monetization. Then we have AI training on uncompensated local content. Many large language models have scraped data from countries with no say in how their culture, historical, or linguistic outputs are used. Another is imposing foreign AI or software systems. Example, Global South governments using foreign AI surveillance tools. Authoritarian-leaning regimes are offered Chinese or Western facial recognition and social control tools, often with backdoors or opaque terms that benefit the vendor, not the public. Then we have educational platforms in former colonies. EdTech firms from the US or Europe, quote-unquote, partner with local schools, but lock them into systems that harvest student data and redirect users to branded global content, undermining local educational autonomy. A third example is infrastructure monopoly and digital dependence, such as telecom and cloud infrastructure lock-in. African, Caribbean, and Pacific nations often rely on a handful of foreign-owned undersea cables or satellite networks. If Amazon Web Services or Microsoft Azure goes out or changes terms, they can cripple entire national systems. Let's look at smart city deals with no local control. Huawei, Cisco, and others have offered smart city solutions where the control panels and data servers remain outside local jurisdiction. Then we have cultural domination via digital platforms. You wonder about examples? Algorithmic erasure of local content. YouTube, TikTok, and Spotify often amplify Western trends while burying local voices, languages, or art under opaque algorithmic biases. App stores and payment restrictions such as Apple or Apple Pay can restrict apps in certain countries, for example, Cuba, Iran, or Syria, not due to local law, but due to US sanctions, for example. Local developers are barred from participating in global digital economies. 5. Surveillance and exploitation in the name of development. An example of that are NGOs deploying biometric tracking systems. Aid agencies have installed biometric systems in refugee camps, for example in Bangladesh or in Jordan for Syrians, without clear data protection rights. The data often ends up in third-party databases managed by foreign contractors. Then we have the credit scoring via mobile usage, for example, M-Pesa, where financial profiling is done using mobile data, but the scoring algorithms are owned by non-local entities, leaving citizens subject to invisible credit decisions with no recourse. Why it's destructive. No local ownership or benefit sharing. Then we have weak or absent data protection laws, cultural homogenization and digital erasure, and last but not least, economic extraction without reinvestment. So allow me to switch slides here. AI in action, real world use cases. Very good. So let me briefly showcase how theory becomes a reality. AI isn't just buzz. It's operational, and it's working today around the world. Let's look at Southwest Airlines and their use of AI for disruption management. During my time as a project leader, at Southwest that is, we implemented AI-driven models focused on customer service resolution and weather-related routing. These models helped increase operational resilience during irregular operations, reducing delays, accelerating rebooking, and improving passenger satisfaction scores. In 2022, Southwest partnered with Amazon Web Services to use machine learning for flight planning and predictive disruption modeling. AI now supports their crew optimization engine and proactive customer communication tools. And I've cited the sources here, and I will be sharing all this online too for those who would like to revisit it. Let's look at tourism AI and smart visitor flow management. In Singapore, AI is deployed to manage tourist congestion. Real-time crowd density heat maps are shared with apps and platforms, nudging tourists toward less crowded attractions. This eases pressure on cultural sites and protects heritage areas. Singapore Tourism Analytics Network uses location data and AI analytics to inform tourists and operators. By the way, they use the acronym STAN. That's Sierra Tango Alpha November. In Barcelona, Spain, Also, they use AI-based sensors and video analytics to adjust street access and signage during festival and summer surges. For small islands where space and ecosystems are limited, this approach can be a game changer, balancing tourism with sustainability. Again, Greg, the services you provide can benefit from this tremendously. Let's take a look at Dubai International Airport and their use of their smart tunnel. Dubai's smart tunnel allows registered travelers to clear immigration in as little as 15 seconds using a fusion of facial recognition, AI pattern recognition, and biometric authentication. Launched by GDRFA and Emirates, the system identifies passengers as they walk through a tunnel. No passport or boarding pass required. Over 3 million travelers have used biometric immigration since 2022. Again, I've listed the sources which you can revisit if you'd like to verify or learn more about this. Then let's look at Delta Airlines and their use of predictive aircraft maintenance. To the best of my knowledge, Lufthansa does the same. Delta uses AI and IoT. IoT stands for the Internet of Things, for those wondering. IoT sensors to predict maintenance needs before parts fail. The benefit? Reducing delays and improving fleet uptime and enhancing safety, which is obvious. Delta's predictive maintenance center uses data from thousands of flights to flag components before failures occur. In 2020, Delta reported saving millions of dollars in unscheduled maintenance costs with predictive tech. Then we have Helsinki Airport, and they have implemented smart baggage handling. At Helsinki Airport, machine learning algorithms monitor baggage movements and detect anomalies that could lead to misrouting or loss, leading to sharp reductions in mishandled bags. Finavia, Helsinki's operator, integrated AI into its baggage handling systems, or BHS. The results included a 25% drop in baggage mishandling incidents over a 2-year pilot period. Again, this was reported through Finavia itself, also the reports by IATA, and also I read a case study by IBM Watson. All this can be found online again. So, none of these achievements happen in isolation. AI solutions are layered onto infrastructure that's already stable, governed by ethical principles, and built to be inclusive. Without that foundation, the most advanced AI systems risk amplifying existing inefficiency or inequities. Let's move to the next slide. Risks of skipping steps. In recent months, we've witnessed critical system failures at major US airports. It's been reported in the news all over the world. From widespread ground stops caused by outdated NOTAM, NOTAM stands for Notice to Airmen systems, to communication breakdowns between flight control and gate operations. These incidents, beyond disrupting travel, have risked lives and exposed the fragility of highly centralized, underinvested systems. The takeaway? Even the world's most resourced aviation ecosystems are vulnerable when core infrastructure is neglected or pieced together without long-term strategy. These are not cautionary tales, my friends. They are wake-up calls. When we leap without a foundation, we risk surveillance without accountability. AI can become a tool of intrusion if not governed by strict human rights standards. We risk automation without talent. Machines won't fix broken systems. They'll just hide their flaws temporarily. If locals can't maintain or improve the system, it won't last, which is a tech gap I witnessed even in the fields of battle and which I was tasked to bridge. We risk over-reliance on foreign vendors. Without building local expertise, the region becomes dependent financially and technically on providers who may one day leave. Actually, I was hoping to interview some professors at the universities in St. Martin when I arrived, but having had arrived on a weekend, I wasn't able to. That said, I did meet a student, so I still intend to explore that resource to some degree in depth. Okay, so we also risk paving paradise for profits that don't stay. And Haiti stands as a painful reminder of what happens when decisions are made for people rather than with them. As my father used to say, do it right or don't do it at all. Of course, not doing it at all was seldom a real choice. Our 4 pillars for success. Let's revisit what real success looks like. 1. Infrastructure first. Reliable roads, power, broadband, and aviation systems that can support modern AI deployments. 2. Education and skills locally. Partnerships with schools, universities, and training centers to build a skilled Caribbean AI workforce. We can observe a parallel application of this in Cuba, where decades of investment in healthcare education have built one of the most robust and exportable medical talent pipelines in the region, proving that with consistent strategy and national focus, excellence can be cultivated at home. 3. Environmental integration. Environmental impact studies and sustainable design in all smart tourism and aviation products is a must. Why? Because smart infrastructure that ignores ecological consequences is neither smart nor sustainable. The Caribbean's biodiversity, coastlines, and reefs are not only natural treasures, they are economic engines. Protecting them isn't optional. It's strategic self-preservation. 4. Ethical AI governance. Clear local policies, public oversight, and respect for privacy and cultural norms is important. Why? Because trust is the currency of technology adoption. AI that violates cultural expectations or lacks transparency will face resistance, and deservedly so, in my opinion. For example, Amsterdam paused its predictive policing program over racial profiling concerns. San Francisco, California, banned facial recognition in public spaces due to civil rights fears. And Kenya's digital ID system was halted over exclusion and data protection gaps. Governance ensures AI serves the people, not the other way around. These are not side initiatives. They are prerequisites. Let's remember that. So, why the Caribbean can lead? Because the high density of air and sea traffic that makes the region a natural testing ground for real-time logistics and demand forecasting. And the island-to-island logistics offers an opportunity that makes the region a perfect environment for AI-optimized short-haul aviation and maritime scheduling. Regional cooperation potential. The shared challenges create an ideal climate for unified platforms and standards. And of course, again, we have the youth engagement. A tech-savvy, multilingual generation is ready to lead. That's if they're given a chance. The Caribbean doesn't have to copy Silicon Valley. It can lead with a new model. Intentional, measured, resilient. On that note, I'd like to explore solutions to a challenge that was brought up yesterday on several occasions: the regional divides. From my perspective, here are some practical solutions to bridge said divide. 1. Create a federated innovation framework. A voluntary, non-binding governance model that allows each island nation to retain autonomy while aligning on key tech standards, interoperability, and shared data layers for aviation, tourism, and infrastructure. Some practical actions: launch a Caribbean Digital Commons initiative with agreed upon APIs, protocols, and ethical AI usage standards. Model after successful federated systems like the EU Digital Single Market, but of course scaled for sovereignty-sensitive island nations. And use blockchain-backed data governance to maintain trust in shared platforms. 2. Establish a Caribbean Smart Tourism and Aviation Council, CSTAC, a neutral rotating body with seats for government reps, private sector innovators, and civil society focused on harmonizing regional development projects. Their core goals: consolidate and align tourism flows, flight scheduling, customs coordination, and digital ID or passenger journey systems. Act as a grant-seeking bloc for global climate resilience and innovation funding through World Bank, IADB, and UNDP. Model examples, you wonder? The Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, the OECS, has some structural overlap. Expand or replicate for tech and aviation specifically. 3. Use joint pilot projects to build trust. Start small, let the islands co-own projects, then scale based on what works. Examples: a shared inter-island digital pass, similar to Sinjan, for vetted travelers. A joint predictive weather and tourism dashboard to manage cruise and flight volumes across affected ports. A collaborative AI-driven lost luggage or visitor mobility solution between 2 to 3 airports. When all the islands see the value, they are more likely to replicate and partner further. 4. Create economic incentives for alignment. Align tech-driven initiatives with shared profit pools or discounted procurement deals for compliant partners. Develop a procurement cooperative so that islands buying AI, smart infrastructure, or digital tools can negotiate better prices together. Encourage tech vendors, for example, for AI border control or predictive tourism flows, to offer tiered pricing or shared support services to multi-island buyers. If we partner, we all pay less and get more faster. 5. Appoint regional youth innovation ambassadors. I see this as a very important point. Bypass political ego by empowering youth leaders, university teams, and Caribbean diaspora innovators to co-create solutions. Have students from multiple islands work on joint innovation sprints or hackathons to solve real problems: port congestion, e-health access, tourist overflow, as examples. Sponsor an annual Smart Islands Youth Summit with cross-island teams tackling practical AI and sustainability issues. Invite international observers and potential funders, for example UNESCO or IADB, to build external validation. Just thoughts. Another, 6, tell a unified story. Create a shared Caribbean innovation identity, not a flag or anthem, but a narrative that islands can see themselves in. A platform like One Caribbean, Many Cultures, One Future, emphasizing shared threats, shared opportunities, and shared brilliance. Use it as a foundation for joint grant writing, diplomatic engagement, and brand storytelling in global forums like CARIBAVIA, UN WTO, and WEF. So, in summary, looking at the challenges and some practical solutions, let's look at competitive fragmentation. The solution, or the practical solution, is federated voluntary alignment mechanisms. Political mistrust. The practical solution is joint pilot projects with shared wins. Lack of economic synergy. The practical solution is regional procurement and funding blocks. Talent underutilization. The practical solution is led diaspora empowered innovation teams. And last but not least, messaging disunity. The practical solution for that is a shared story and a shared digital identity. And finally, remember that change does not happen overnight. So this slide 10, the Connexxen commitments, Connexxen being our company, I list them not because I want to market Connexxen only. It's something I believe that should be a model for all businesses. It's a reason, actually, that I chose to resurrect my business entity. So, you may wonder, where am I coming from? What is my angle? Why am I doing what I'm doing? The consulting world has lost its touch and veered away from its original primary focus to solve problems at the root cause levels. Connexxen was created to bridge innovation and everyday value, offering solutions that are thoughtful, transparent, and aligned with your long-term goals, not sales quotas and short-term profits. Not being able to implement this soundly in a corporate environment, I decided to go it alone and partner with others of similar mindsets and vision to turn back the tables and offer prospect clients sound alternatives, not cookie-cutter, prepackaged, one-size-fits-all solutions. I call that the Connexxen commitments. They are what we believe, how we serve, why we exist. 1. We solve before we sell. Every client challenge deserves a tailored solution, not a one-size-fits-all upsell. We only recommend what serves their real needs. 2. We listen to understand, not just to respond. Our consultations begin with questions, not sales scripts. We take time to understand your lifestyle, goals, and frustrations. 3. We build trust, not dependencies. Our mission is to empower, not trap you in an expensive or unnecessary ecosystem. We favor open systems, compatibility, and transparency. 4. We prioritize privacy and security. Your home is your sanctuary, and your business strategies are your differentiating advantage in contrast to your competitors in the marketplace. That means no hidden surveillance, no creepy data mining, and no quote-unquote smart tech that disrespects your autonomy. 5. We design for real life, not just the showroom. Your space should work for you, not the other way around. We consider function, habit, comfort, and accessibility in everything we propose. 6. We don't disappear after installation. Support doesn't end at the sale. We offer guidance, check-ins, and updates to make sure your systems evolve with your needs. 7. We speak human, not hype. No technobabble, no empty buzzwords. We communicate in plain terms because clarity builds confidence. 8. We honor every dollar like it's our own. We never take budget for granted. If we can help you save rather than spend, we'll do it, and even show you how to. 9. We believe in ethical innovation. Progress isn't an excuse to exploit. Our solutions aim to enhance your life without compromising your dignity, data, or values. And lastly, 10, we show up thoughtfully, respectfully, always. Whether it's an in-home consultation or a virtual walkthrough, you'll never wonder where we stand. We show up prepared, present, and professional. We believe that all businesses should follow this model. We didn't invent it. We just recycled it when less conscious operations ignored or disposed of it. So, currently we work with governments for smart tourism planning, airports for predictive passenger logistics, developers on eVTOL infrastructure. Example, some of our innovations are MADLAPS, patented mobile aerial drone landing platforms we are developing, which include those from unmanned eVTOLs. We also have some innovations in drone technology and drone services too. A lot of that is shared on our website. In a nutshell, Connexxen was born from a simple conviction that most systems fail not because of bad tools, but because no one ever took the time to think clearly before building. That's what I bring. That's where Connexxen begins, with ideas sharp enough to reshape systems. Okay, so the ROI. This is where the bean counters hone on to. I say that respectfully if we have any accountants amongst us. In every conversation about AI, smart tech, or infrastructure, someone always asks, what's the ROI, or return on investment? But maybe we've been answering that the wrong way. What if the true ROI isn't just revenue, but resilience? Technology can be removed. Funding can dry up. Trends can change. But people remain. Communities remain. Ecosystems remain. That's why we must build systems that don't just dazzle with short-term gains, but that endure, adapt, and protect the people and places they're meant to serve. Empower locals. Train and employ locals in tech maintenance, data collection, and hospitality innovation. Shift from foreign dependence to community-led innovation ecosystems. Empowerment is more than inclusion. It's ownership. When the community owns the system, they protect it. And a great example comes from Rwanda, where local drone delivery teams now run Zipline's medical supply chain operations, not expats. Respect ecosystems. Design tourism flows and urban systems around natural boundaries, not against them. Use AI to predict and avoid ecological strain. Respect isn't just environmentalism. It's intergenerational thinking. Example, in the Galapagos, smart tourism limits aren't just policy. They're a survival strategy. So stay accountable even when funding shifts. Build modular, open source compatible systems that can be maintained locally if international vendors exit. Create fail-safes and fallback protocols that keep systems running during shocks, from hurricanes to budget cuts. Accountability isn't a trend, it's a design principle. For example, during the 2010 Haiti earthquake, resilient communication nodes and solar-powered infrastructure became critical lifelines, far more than any flashy smart systems. So, resilience is the real return. When tech empowers people, protects place, and performs under pressure, that's the ROI that matters. At least the one that matters the most. In closing, friends, we cannot automate wisdom, but we can design for it. Let's align intelligence with integrity and ensure that the Caribbean leads not by copying others, but by honoring its own spirit. Please build the foundation before you fly. Resilience is greater than revenue. As the discussion opens, I'm especially eager to explore synergies with all of you, but notably with the Honorable Minister Fernandez, discussing aligning predictive AI with high-spend traveler expectations, etc. Ms. Martin and Mr. Damian Richardson, bridging eVTOL tech with resilient ground planning, and educational leaders like Mr. Mahou, discussing curriculum design for an AI-ready aviation generation. I welcome your questions, your critiques, and most importantly, your ideas. Let's shape this future together. Thank you for your presence, your questions, and your commitment to a smarter future.